Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of The Dave Show. Today, we're going to be talking about gaming and the woke monster that just won't die. I don't know why in the gaming world it just refuses to go away. It is so embedded. So let's take a look, see what Endymion has to say today, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, 10,000 subscribers. Let's do it.
The war for the soul of the internet is ever raging on, and there is now even more that is being unearthed. The United States Agency for International Development, or USAID for short, has now been exposed for trying to create narratives that support their failing agenda. IGN reviewers are going scorched earth, RPGNet decides to spit on conservative players, and Valve is banning propaganda on their platform, and Sweet Baby Inc. has gotten exposed again. Yeah, there's a lot here, I know, but first, the USAID stuff needs to be addressed. This comes from Bounding into Comics. USAID official disinformation primer says gaming sites are one of many alternative spaces from which problematic information more regularly originates. If you haven't been following along lately, the US government under Trump has completely gutted USAID, which was exposed to be directly attached to funding the propaganda that has been ruining video games, movies, and more for years.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, they have their fingers all over the world in crazy projects and programs that have nothing to do with the United States official stance or agenda. I mean, it is sickening how much fraud and abuse is rolling through the USAID, and I'm sure they're just the beginning of what they're going to find. It's sickening. It's sickening. So much fraud, so much corruption, so many kickbacks, people getting rich off of our money, off of our taxpayer, off of our taxes. Absolutely ridiculous and disgusting.
Effectively, with USAID being exposed and torn apart like this, the woke movement, so to speak, has been halted, not killed outright, but severely weakened, and they're pretty much losing a large swath of their resources to continue pushing their narratives. Trump's new executive order against this states, from this day forward, the foreign policy of the United States shall champion core American interests and always put America and American citizens first.
And that's the way it should be, and that's the way it should always be. And I hope it stays that way for a very, very long time, even when Democrats eventually gain power again, which I don't think is going to be for quite a while, with the absolutely break in the logic and sanity that they're doing right now. They not only have the Trump derangement syndrome, now they have the Elon derangement syndrome. I mean, it's just one thing after another with those. They're a clown show. They're absolute train wreck.
This is basically an atom bomb going off in a hipster cafe for people who think that there's infinite genders. USAID's disinformation primer was apparently finalized in 2021, and the mission statement has now been revealed as it reads. USAID staff and partners to understand the basics of disinformation, how it is spread, why it is spread, and how programming can help reduce its damaging impact on societies around the world, it reads further. Today's digital communications and media landscape is complex and has given rise to a new set of challenges and considerations for democracy support. Across all USAID programming countries, this requires a solid understanding of disinformation and robust approaches for countering and preventing it. This disinformation primer further states that USAID believes that propaganda and false information routinely gets shared and spread across what they call alternative sites, or alt media, with things like message boards, Reddit, 4chan, Discord, and claims that some things are flat-out conspiracy sites, and specifically calls out the gaming sites as one of these major problems. As USAID's disinformation primer further states, while information on alternative systems such as conspiracy theories may seem farcical or preposterous to an outsider, to users, these spaces enable them to collaborate and validate their own claims and interpretations of the world that differ from mainstream sources. With this, individuals contribute their own research to the larger discussion, collectively reviewing and validating each other to create a populist expertise that justifies, shapes, and supports their alternative beliefs. As these discussions become larger, mainstream institutions may pick up on the issue, but because they do not understand the platform or alternative media systems more generally, they may unknowingly provide wide coverage of misleading information. However, it's the 5 tenets of USAID's so-called fight against disinformation that is honestly hilarious, especially with number 4 stating, "Fund independent media and local public interest journalism. One of the best forms of resilience against mis- and disinformation is journalism."
That's the crazy thing, is the things that they're calling disinformation is actually like truth. I mean, some of them might be garbage, I'm sure, on the fringes. But they're just, this is upside down world. I'm telling you, it's crazy. And I'm glad all this is going away. Hopefully.
And number 5, which is just the cherry on this crap pie, support media monitoring
pie.
and fact-checking initiatives specifically. You cannot fight disinformation with disinformation. You need to fight back with the truth and good reporting. Need I remind you that these are the same people who are directly responsible with flooding your favorite games, movies, and more with DEI stuff and injecting as much as they can to make it lame and gay, so to speak, as humanly possible for years
lame
now.
and gay.
Saying that you cannot fight disinformation, which they mean what you or I say, with disinformation, even though that's exactly what they have done for years to a T, and going as far as to say that you have to fight back with the truth. What truth exactly? That there really is infinite genders and that all white men are awful and video games need to bow down to the woke cabal? Is that the truth that they want? Because it sounds more like propaganda to me, but hey, we all know now that USAID is, or I guess was, tied massively to the propaganda machine for sure now. The fact that this is all coming out is staggering, and it seems like every other day more sludge is continuing to seep from the crevices of USAID's sinking ship for us to find and decipher. Need I remind you that if Kamala Harris won the election, all of this would be going into hyperdrive.
Exactly.
And the fact that USAID and this entire operation is being exposed like this is the 9/11, so to speak, for woke weirdos the world over. This is like getting caught with your pants down, double cheeked up with a flashlight on you. These people are exposed, dear viewer, and they are hating it so much, and I love it. It's crazy how this meme of putting woke stuff in games quite literally led to the collapse of the entire liberal agenda like this, but man, do I love to see it. And how are the woke journalists taking this monumental loss, you may be wondering? Not well, guys. Not well at all. Even an IGN reviewer has been discovered to be crashing out, so to speak, lately too. So Liana Hafer, who reviewed games like Dragon Age Veilguard and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for IGN, has been found to be very, very mad that Trump has decided to rename the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America.
Oh.
Here's what Lena said. By the
Oh, don't dead name the Gulf of America. Oh my gosh, this is so stupid.
way, don't harass them, it's not worth it, but we can at least look at what they're saying so we can better prepare in the future for stuff like this, Lena said. I'll take a whole point off the review score for any future map games that call it the Gulf of America. You think I'm joking? You think I want to do this forever? I can start some fires on the way out to try and call the bluff.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary. How horrible. You're going to take a whole point off of, of your review? Oh no. What a... Oh my gosh, she is totally retarded.
Nobody has ever let this amount of soft power go to their head before, as far as I know. Lena has since gone protected on Twitter after publicly admitting that they do in fact allow their scores of games to be affected by their own personal versions of political activism of whichever game they're reviewing at hand.
And that should never be an issue when reviewing a game. It should be on the merits and content of the game alone. I mean, they're not doing their jobs. They're tainted and corrupt, okay? They're grifters. They're DEI grifters.
And I mean, they gave Veilguard a 9 out of 10, which, yeah, checks out, and it is ironic considering that Lena is a man who is now apparently a woman, and of course they're all about, like, you know, the whole dead naming thing, but changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, isn't that just the Gulf being its true self? Shouldn't they be for this? Anyways. But confirming what people have been saying about you and your group of journalists for years like this is nothing short of validating, to say the least. When they tell you who they are, you should probably believe them. And Lena here, who again works for IGN, has just confirmed that they do in fact score games based on how the game aligns with their own political views. But
Wow.
remember that USA stated in their own disinformation primer that what Lena is doing here is not technically disinformation or bad, because after all, they are an official, and I put that in quotations, journalist, so what they say technically should be considered law against, say, what people speak about on forums or on Discord. But if you ask me, all Lena has proven here is what I fully expect to keep happening as time soldiers on the further the Trump administration is in power, which is that these media types are going to start lashing out even harder than before. Currently, as of the making of this video, the DICE Summit is happening in Las Vegas. It's a big thing where game developers, publishers, and so on, they all meet up and discuss games, make partnerships, networking stuff. Anyway, some people I know in games are there right now, and they've told me that the general climate, if you will, at DICE right now is that a lot of these game devs are very, very angry and spiteful at things like Gamergate and specifically Trump. There's lots of discussions at DICE about doubling or even tripling down on the woke elements going forward,
Oh,
which may
gosh.
seem...
Do they just want to lose more money? I don't I don't understand. I mean, especially if their funding is being eliminated, they cannot keep this up. They're all going to go under in the next couple of years during the Trump administration. If they triple down on this stuff, no way. No way. There's going to be an absolute shutdown of people buying games. I'm sorry.
good to do in these people's eyes in the short term perhaps, but in the long term it will only lead to losses of sale and the untimely demises of their studios.
That's what
I know
just
for
said.
sure one of the studios that are really mad at Gamergate for what I've been told is Naughty Dog,
What
The Last of Us and
buffoons.
Intergalactic Studio.
Gosh.
They hate Gamergate, dude. They wish it never existed. And from what I was told anyway, they have zero plans to change their games or
And Naughty Dog used to be like one of the pinnacle companies out there doing games. You can always count on a great Naughty Dog game, and they took the time to do it right before they released it. It's a shame what they've become.
messaging going forward. So I fully expect that Intergalactic is going to be the gayest, most pro-liberal game we've ever seen yet, but good luck to Naughty Dog. I'm sure the reviewers out there like Lena of IGN will love it. Wouldn't even be surprised if they end up reviewing it for the site too because of the politics behind it. But I will be very interested to know if the game sells well or not. Naughty Dog is a big developer, sure, but by the time Intergalactic releases, will a game like that even survive in this new post-woke era? I guess we'll see, but it's food for thought and I figured you guys would want to know that. And I already know people are going to say I'm lying, but man, I wish I could tell you some of the people that I talk to in games. You would be surprised. There's quite a few game devs out there who are pro-Gamergate that you wouldn't expect, let me tell you. Sadly, IGN isn't the only ones that are very butthurt and are lashing out due to the whole USAID failure and all of that. So MadScribe Games tweeted this, and I figured I should probably show you guys because this disappoints me greatly. As they posted, RPG.net has decided to usher in new ban rules. If you don't know this site, they've been around for a long time. And they have a very dedicated forum about all sorts of RPGs. It's a site that's full of stuff, and seeing this is disappointing, but let me read you their somewhat lengthy statement here. New ban. Do not post in support of Trump or his administration. The following policy announcement is the result of over a year of serious debate by the moderation team. The decision is as close to unanimous as we ever get. It will not be the subject of further debate. We have fully considered the downsides and ultimately decided we have to stay true to our values. We will not pretend that evil isn't evil or that it becomes a legitimate difference of political opinion if you put a suit and tie on it.
Oh my gosh. These people are so messed up. They are a cult. They have no free thought whatsoever. Everything comes from the hive mind and they just drink the Kool-Aid, gulp it down every day. My gosh.
We are banning support of Donald Trump or his administration on the RPG.net forums. This is because his public comments, policies, and the makeup of his administration are so wholly incompatible with our values that former political neutrality is not tenable. Wow. We can be welcoming to, for example, persons of every ethnicity.
That tells me everything I need to know about this. This is, gosh, it's ridiculous. I can't believe there are actually people like this.
Who want to talk about games, or we can allow support for open white supremacy. Not both. Below will be an outline of the policy and a very incomplete set of citations. We have a community here that we've built carefully over time, and support for elected hate groups aren't welcome here. We can't save the world, but we can protect and care for the small patch that is this board. So you heard it right. RPG.net, a site about role-playing games, has decided to put their feet in the sand and condemn any user or fan of their site who is pro-Trump in any way. To say this is disappointing would be an understatement, but if you go to their site now, as you can see in the top left corner, they have very firmly stated what their stance is, just in their logo for the site, right there, as you can see. All the stupid flags, all of the nonsense, it's all there. And look at that on the right, talking about anti-fascist games. Yeah, they're not taking this Trump win well at all. Well,
Wow.
I guess you can add RPG.net to the list of places that have decided to plant their feet down and pick a side. They've decided they want to become a transgender echo chamber that hates more than half of America. Bold move, RPG.net. I doubt they'll go under or anything like that, but they will probably just become their own version of 4chan or Reddit in the sense where they just smell each other's farts and agree with each other on everything. I'll read you more of what RPG.net has said, and I quote, "We are banning support of the administration of President Trump. You can still post on RPG.net even if you do in fact support the administration. You just can't bring your evil here. We are absolutely not endorsing the Democrats, nor are we banning all Republicans. We are certainly not banning conservative politics or anything on the spectrum of reasonable political viewpoints. We assert that hate groups and intolerance are categorically different from other types of political positions, and that confusing the two legitimizes bigotry and hatred. We are not going to have a purge. We will not be banning people for past support, though if your profile picture is yourself in a MAGA hat, this might be a good time to change it. We will not permit witch hunts, progressive loyalty testing, or attempting to bait another into admitting support for President Trump in order to get them banned. The mod staff will deal harshly with attempts to weaponize this policy. It is not open season on conservatives, and revenge fantasies against Trump and Trump supporters are still against the rules," end quote. Yeah, this is just a mess. So you guys, or they themies I guess, are stating that your entire site is anti-Trump, anti-conservative. But you then say that you won't purge said individuals from your site. However, if you have a MAGA hat in your profile in any way, shape, or form, now is a good time to change it according to you. Well, this just means that you are then in fact witch hunting people, because why would someone need to change their profile if they have the red hat icon in it? If you just said there won't be any witch hunts. These people are just trying to circumvent a boycott by using strategic language here, but it's plain as day to see what the agenda really is here. You don't want people to leave because if they do, your traffic will drop for sure, but you instead just want conservative aligned users to do what exactly? Live in fear of your clearly leftist echo chamber that you're fostering on your website here? How does any of this make any sense? They have more, but I won't bother reading it all for you, but pretty much they further say that they're in support of things like transgender service members in the military, and they really hate Trump's ICE raids on illegals. Again, I have to ask, what the hell does any of this have to do with RPG games or tabletop things like Dungeons and Dragons exactly? This is what I keep talking about, which is that for people to want to be so protective of their fantasy imaginary worlds, they are so counterintuitive because they clearly cannot differentiate reality from fiction. This is why I keep saying that real-life politics and concepts like Black Lives Matter or whatever should not exist in entertainment. Especially things that are so clearly not modern day or based on the real world. Like, I don't want to be playing a Baldur's Gate game and someone looks directly into the camera and talks to me about Bitcoin. None of this should be there to begin with. Of course, then you have Valve, which recently confirmed that they will ban any game from their platform that doesn't adhere to their rules. The big one here being that Valve has completely outlawed any game from being purchasable or playable on their platform if the game in question has ads within it. So what's going on? Pretty much for a while now, some games have been pushing to put advertisements into their games, like hardwiring it. One of these games is the NBA 2K franchise. Back in 2020 and in 2021, NBA 2K was in deep trouble with players because they added unskippable advertisements into their video games that were obviously charging full price in order to play them. This rightfully angered players, as this is an egregious thing to add to your game to not
I never played those games, so I wouldn't know, but that is disgusting. If you pay full price for a game, you do not want to see ads, especially unskippable ads. Jeez, what a bunch of money whores.
Allow players to skip them when they already paid full money for your product. It would be like renting a movie, and then every single 15 minutes your movie just stops to play an ad that you can't skip. Yeah, no thanks. That's stupid. Some of these
Yeah, that's Hulu.
Ads showed the Oculus Rift, for example, just in full view in game. And the players that were, playing the game, they couldn't really do anything but stare at it as their game just kind of loaded. 2K did eventually try to lie and say this was all a bug, but they did own up to it eventually.
Bug.
And they did
Right.
remove it. But circling back to Valve pretty much stating in their guidelines as it reads, developers should not utilize paid advertising as a business model in their game, such as requiring players to watch or otherwise engage with advertising in order to play or gating gameplay behind advertising.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with this. This is ridiculous. This should not be. I mean, the microtransactions and stuff are a whole nother thing, but shoving it in your face and making you watch ads? No way. Nope.
If your game's business model relies on advertising on other platforms, you will need to remove those elements before shipping on Steam. Some options you could consider include switching to a single purchase paid app or making your game free to play, blah blah blah. Developers should not use advertising as a way to provide value to players, and developers should not charge other developers for access to Steam features, and so on, but you get the idea. So Steam has pretty much just slapped this entire concept out of the would-be hands of greedy executives.
Good.
And just told them that if you want to sell your games here, you gotta play by our rules or you're out. This is very pro-consumer, and I'm glad to see Valve doing this, because this crap does not belong in games. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
Imagine playing a game like, I don't know, Elden Ring or something, and when you die or whatever, they just start playing like a car commercial in between, like, no thanks, that's insane, dude. But this insanity doesn't stop there. So here's some more crazy stuff, and to prove that these things are all connected and funded, here's the last story for this video. From that park play, Sweet Baby Inc. connected Wings Interactive deletes its online presence after bombshell expose by Gothic Therapy YouTube channel. So the Gothic Therapy YouTube channel has exposed Sweet Baby Inc. yet again for their funding and how they go about things behind the scenes. Wow. Gothic Therapy is operated by friend of the channel, Master of the TDS, and his wife, Writing Raven. Here's what they discovered. So they found a company called Vingar Interaktiva, which is situated in Sweden. This shell company, so to speak, which is called Wings Interactive in English, shared the same address as Gothic Therapy discovered as another game studio called Landfall Games. Landfall's co-founder is named Peter Henriksen, who was also discovered to be the CEO of this Wings Interactive. Then Gothic Therapy found out that Kim Belair, the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc., was a board member at Wings Interactive. Wow. Then they found out that Riot Games, the people who make League of Legends and more, gave at least $1 million to Wings Interactive in 2021. Meaning that Riot Games was indeed in bed with the same people that were definitely tied to Sweet Baby Inc. Since discovering all of these connections in the last 24 hours as this video is being posted, Wings Interactive has now deleted their Twitter account and removed their TikTok and Blue Sky accounts as well. Their Instagram has been set to private, and any news articles related to this Wings Interactive have completely vanished from their homepage. The company's website no longer displays who their committee is, or their board members, or employees, or anything else like that. And the entire section has just been removed from their website too, as this information has come out. As you can see, as I've been scrolling this entire time, all of these things are gone. Wings has completely scrubbed pretty much everything. They say that they're a committee of only diverse women of color who get to decide whether your indie game gets made or not. So why does this all matter? Basically, to keep it simple, Wings Interactive is effectively strong-arming the future of indie games to be created solely by people they deem worthy of their grants, that they can fund them through these shell companies. And Sweet Baby Inc., of course, is a part of Wings since, like I said, Kim Belair, who's the co-founder of SBI, is on the board team of Wings. And I guess she's there because she's a woman of color too, I guess. All in all, this means that Wings will help you make your indie game as long as you meet the criteria that they desire from their panel of members. And
if this is only by women, and I mean no offense to women, this would be a train wreck. I'm sorry. Oh man, that is, you do not want a sole woman committee making decisions. I'm sorry. I love you, women, but that's not a good idea.
The fact that all of this has now since been deleted in the wake of Gothic Therapy exposing them like this, it pretty much means that they know that what they were doing is immoral, and they have to now work underground, so to speak, to keep their agenda going. They quite literally scurried like cockroaches when a light was shined on them, and this just proves that yet again, that these people are not in the habit of making games for the love of the craft, but to simply push an agenda that aligns with what they want politically, first and foremost.
Wow.
I can't currently tie wings to something like USAID yet, but this is all suspiciously being tied around similar things, and it is very super weird. But when the woke movement is claiming that you're spreading misinformation by interacting with any site they don't control 100% of the time, and they advocate for censorship, while also strong-arming vulnerable indie devs into bending the knee for grants, and now you got websites that are flat out stating that they stand against conservatives, when it has nothing to do with what their websites are originally about in the first place. It's very clear that, like I predicted a few videos back even, that we're going to be seeing these groups clamoring down hard and shutting themselves off from the rest of the internet like little crabs in their little shells. They really don't want us in there, and they want to keep us all out, but they don't seem to realize that despite their best efforts, then no matter what, we'll find out what games they're a part of, and we will boycott them anyways. Sure, they'll call us problematic for that, but we wouldn't need to resort to these things if they had good intentions to begin with, which in my opinion, they frankly do not. This woke movement is afraid, they're on the defense, and we'll keep exposing them. This is not over, but they are weakened. Just follow the trail of blood, dear viewer, and I'm sure we can find even more secrets that they're hiding in due time. Thank you for being here, subscribe, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
Wow, that was awesome. As always, it's so good. Man, it is just incredible, the web of just web of craziness. I don't know. The everything is so connected to the USAID. I don't know. Maybe it is the peak of the mountain of corruption, but there's more to come from more departments, I'm sure. Oh man, I hope this woke nonsense just dies for sure. Anyways, hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, slap that bell. Tell your friends about Idle Hands, and I'd love to have you on the channel. And until the next episode, have a great day. Stay safe. Know that you are loved and appreciated. All right, have a good one.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Let the thoughts build up until I can't hear.